Yo, what's up, party people? How's it going? It is your boy Maine. This is another episode of the Order Book. We're back. We're on YouTube. We're on Kick. We're on X. We're streaming everywhere. We're here to take over the crypto streaming game. We're bringing it back to what it's all about. We're going to be covering some charts. We're going to be covering some current events. We'll be answering your questions from the chat. This should be a lot of fun. There's some shit going on. I think for a long time here, guys, the trade was the taco trade, right? The nothing ever happens trade. That was seemingly the play forever. Nothing ever happens. Well, some shit's happening right now, okay? Some shit is happening. There is a conflict going on in the Middle East. There's landmines in the Strait of Hormuz, supposedly. Crypto is hanging on to 70K. Stock market pulling back. Oil bouncing. What the fuck is going on? That's what we're going to talk about today in the Order Book. We're going to do our best to help you guys be prepared for all of the shit that's happening here. Okay? So, lots to talk about, lots to discuss. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you're following me on all different platforms and make sure you're following the Order Book's socials. Okay, so we've got the socials for the Order Book here. You're going to want to follow the Order Book Show on Twitter. Once this hits 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away some money. You're going to want to follow on Instagram as well. Follow us everywhere. Let's try and blow this up because who's doing it like your boy? You know? Who's doing it like your boy? It's a bear market and your boy Maine is streaming every single day. That's how you know shit is happening. That's how you know shit's going on. Your boy Maine is on stream every single day trying to teach you guys a little bit of something. A little bit of something, okay? The Yeet section, guys, has been moved to its own stream. Okay, so Yeet's now Wednesday and Thursday. Charts, news, poly market stuff is going to be on Tuesday, Thursday. But you should still hang out. We're going to talk about yeeting ourselves into some trades maybe. You know what I mean? So has anything really happened on Bitcoin, guys? Like, has anything really happened on Bitcoin? Not really. We're still within this range that we've been in for a while now, right? We've been in this range for a while, right? Just diddling in the middle. We came down, right? We tested near the range lows. We had long opportunities here, faded at the high, bounced off the mid-range, and now we're kind of just struggling at the range high here. So the question that you got to ask yourself, right, is this it? Is this the move done? Are we about to pull one of these, right? Where, yeah, we got this, bounce up here. We're maybe bouncing, maybe we're here, I don't know. And this thing's about to roll over, or is this different than this consolidation? Okay? So we've discussed high time frame views a ton. No reason to go over what my views are high time frame on Bitcoin right now. I think what's most important is to cover the low time frame because that's where the actual trading opportunities are, right? So we'll see if there's any trading opportunities here. As you guys know, I posted a potential lower high play here, right? We pulled fibs, right? Remember from the fib lesson, the fib's just a measuring tool. High to low. I said, listen, if the bears are going to slam it, it happens from here. Stop above there. Right? Target into the lows. That seems to be the bearish setup. I think for the bulls, very simply, what I'd drawn out was Monday's range, right? So where's Monday's candle? Right? So today is Thursday's the 12th, right? So Monday was the 10th, or the 9th, excuse me. So that's Monday's high. This is Monday's low, right? And I just said kind of we're holding on, right? The bulls are holding on to Monday's high here. So I think if you're a bull, you don't really want to see us lose 70K. And I think to get long, if you're not long now, right, probably want to see a reclaim of this range high. I think that's the setup for the bulls. I think the bears have a cleaner setup right now, as we've discussed a bunch of times at this point, right? Rejection, lower high area. I think if we fall back below Monday's range, I think that increases the likelihood of here, and I think that really opens up the door to this. But for now, I think as long as we're kind of hanging on here, you know, you can wait, you can be cautiously optimistic. I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want, but I'm not personally longing this, because where's my inval? Unless I'm targeting up into like the 80s, and then I'm willing to have like a stop loss of, you know, I don't know, here. Like we got to get to just about 80K for that trade to make sense. Otherwise, put your stop loss below the Iran levels. Now you're talking, you know, mid 80s for this to start having decent risk reward. Alternatively, you wait, right? You wait and see if we're able to flip above this, and then that becomes your trigger. And then whatever the low is that causes that breakout, that's your invalidation. Okay? So that's kind of what I'm looking for here on Bitcoin. I'm still just sitting, I'm still chilling. I think we caught a good part of the move already here. I think one of the best arguments for the bulls is something that I posted on Twitter yesterday. So if you go down to here, I think this is one of the best arguments the bulls have right now, right? Like this is confluence to that setup, is that we've had 5 straight red closes as of the end of February. We very rarely have that happen. We've had 6 before, right? We've had 6 before, but not super common. We are due for some relief. So the idea that March's candle closes green, I think there's some merit to that. And you could argue then, right, that your invalidation is quite simply like getting back below the monthly open, which happens to be very much in line kind of with the mid-range stop idea that I had given you here. Right? So month is going to close. That's your monthly open. Month is going to close green. So your long is basically, you know, you long now, or you try for a little lower, but you're longing here. Your invalidation is below here. Then your target is like up to there. Okay? Seaver says, this angle makes you look small as fuck. My diet is what's making me look small as fuck, bro. You're saying I'm skinny. I got a state trooper build. What the fuck's that mean, bro? The fuck does that mean? So is that copacetic? Everyone understand what the fuck I'm saying on Bitcoin here? Kind of the general game plan. If we pull a fib on the last leg up, the sweet spot overlap with the breaker. If there's a pullback there, do you think this is a valid place to look for a long? I think what you're talking about is here. If I'm not mistaken, you're saying from this to this, and you're saying this breaker here. The answer would be, yeah. I don't know if like that's pretty tight invalidation if your stop is going right there versus down there. But in theory, the answer is yes. Neck is shrinking, bro. You guys, when you're 48 years old, you have to worry about things like cholesterol, your body fat percentage. These are things that I have to worry about that many of you young kids don't, right? Many of you young kids don't need to worry about this stuff. I do. So I have to lose a little bit of weight. I'm trying to lose about 15, 20 pounds right now. And unfortunately, I carry, you know, a lot of people, they got love handles. They carry it around their midsection, the belt. Some people got the fucking rib fat. I carry a lot of my weight right here, okay? So naturally, some of that weight is going to come off. Of the neck, unfortunately, okay? It's not something I want. If I could be absolutely ginormous and keep my neck just abundantly thick. When my neck first got revealed, guys, I was 240 to 250 pounds. I was huge. I was in the gym all the time, deadlift, squat, overhead press, bench press. I was eating fucking 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day. I was a gorilla. I looked like a bowling ball. Now I look more human. Okay? I had the neck for God. Don't take this away from me. It's all I have. Okay, guys, so that's the plan for Bitcoin. Boom, bang, bing. Real straightforward here. Now, I don't really want to cover ETH, and I don't really want to cover Solana because I think there's nothing to talk about. I think all of these charts are the exact same. So instead, we're going to go look at a couple other coins. We're going to look at Hype. So Hype is a much more interesting setup. You have the high time frame sweep, as you guys remember, you can't see it on this chart, but like this is a high time frame sweep, right? And then we have our weekly breaker here. This is that wick is fucking it up, but we have our big weekly breaker, and this has just been a really nice looking setup on Hype, right? I think this is resistance up here. You can't really see on this chart because there's not enough history, but if I go over to here, right? We're coming up into some resistance here on Hype. And coupled with that resistance is I think a lot of people are buying this into the Arthur shill, right? They're buying this into the Arthur shill. So I think Hype, if you're looking to long Hype, I think you can probably either wait for a break above this high, right? Because you have a low, high, higher low. Wait for it to make a higher high, and then we're going to look to repeat what this is. Buy the higher low, right? That is the setup, I think, on the long side for Hype. I think you want to wait and see this thing to make a higher high. Shame you can't see it there, but above here, what is this, 38 to 40? Break above there, this would be coupled with the market breaking out in general. And then you want to buy that next higher low, right? Because this is just a nice clean. You don't want to buy this, right? You want to wait for that break to occur. There's your MSB. Wait for the pullback. That's where you want to buy, right? Same thing here. We don't want to buy. We don't necessarily want to buy here. It might go like this, a little higher, but eventually this is going to pull back, right? This is 6 straight days of up. We don't want to get caught buying here when we can buy at a discount. Same thing goes here, right? We want to buy whenever this price leg ends. We want to buy in the discount of that price leg. So that's what I'm thinking on Hype if this uptrend is going to continue, but I do think it's into some resistance here. So you want to see what happens. Is it going to get a bit of a pullback from here, or is it going to break above this level and then that becomes where your pullback is, right? Like, does it just break above here, Chad mode, and then we're looking to buy like this? So into an area of resistance here on Hype. Still one of the best looking charts out there. Something to watch. Keep it on your watch list for sure, for sure. But we're in a resistance. And remember, Arthur told you all. He said, I bought a bunch of Hype at 25. And then he posted an article saying it's going to 150 right as it gets into resistance. And he says he still wants to buy more. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a better entry than buying it right into the resistance level. But hey, if it's going to 150, what's the difference between buying at 25, 30 or 35? Not that much. Okay, so something to watch there. Low time frame, right? If we get a pullback to maybe here, that could be your setup on the H12. Okay. Gray Gorilla, what a name, says, Arthur told you that ZEC was going to 10K on October 30th, and then it went down 75% from there in November. Yeah, you can't trust anyone, including me. I know you're in here and you're in my chat and you're saying I'm handsome. Thanks, Fraggled Mole. I think you're handsome as well. but you can't trust anyone on the internet. Everyone's talking their own book, okay? Everyone's talking their own book. And you have to assume that they have the worst intentions in mind, okay? Nobody here is on your team. As nice as I may seem, I definitely want to make money for myself more than I want to make it for you. That's true for everyone else. Everyone has different levels of morality. Their moral barometer's different. What they share, how they share it, are they colluding with other people, whatever. It's all different. But at the end of the day, you got to assume everyone's a shark. You need to be a shark too, or you're going to end up being shark bait. Okay? You don't want that. So don't just because Arthur is a billionaire and is telling you hype's going to 150, it doesn't mean it's going to 150 by any means. It doesn't mean that he's not going to sell on you the moment he deems necessary and not tell you until later. Just don't assume or trust anything. Do your own analysis, make your own decisions, because it's your money on the line, right? If hype goes to fucking 45 and then, you know, the Israel and Iran and US war escalates and someone drops a nuke or something crazy happens that causes a black swan, but and this is going to nuke, and then it crashes, and then Arthur's like, well, we actually exited our hype position at 40. He's not going to tell you that he exited at 40 until it's back at fucking 20. You know what I mean? So like, just don't assume that he is going to. It's always fill before you shill, right? First you fill, then you shill. You never shill before the fill, okay? So let's just see what happens, okay? Let's just see what happens. And yeah, hype, interesting market to watch, I think, for sure. What else did I want to look at here? Someone mentioned Doge. A lot of these alts, straight up, are looking like potentially bottomy, which is deceiving, okay? And Doge is a really good example of this, because you get these kind of, we're either in like one of these, right? Or we hope we're in one of these. Because eventually these things bounce. Whether it's going to bounce to new all-time highs, who fucking cares, right? This thing can, in an instant, bounce like 40, 50, plus 60%, sometimes even hundreds of percents. This is a, what, weekly candle here? That's a 20% weekly candle right there. This is a massive counter trend rally, and from here to the high is a 100% move. So eventually we are going to get a bounce on some of these alts, and I've showed you this before. The selling, right, the aggressiveness is subsiding a little bit. Super, super steep, right? Now it's slightly less steep. Now it's potentially, oh my God. No, you stupid, stupid man. Now it's potentially subsiding a little bit, right? Just a tiny bit. So something to watch on some of these altcoins is, are they potentially bottoming out? Now, there's a lot of other factors that we have to consider here before you decide you want to go long Dogecoin. Is Bitcoin holding steady or potentially going to have more upside? How does this altcoin look versus Bitcoin itself? But there are some altcoins that are starting to potentially show interesting looking setups. Like look at Tau, for example. Right? Like this is a decent candle. You know, is it this or is it the start of something larger? We don't know yet, but on the lower time frames, you can see some of these things are trying to put in temporary bottoms. Doge appears to be one of those coins where it's saying, hey, like maybe, just maybe there's a higher low, right, in the making here. So I think the super easy way to trade these types of coins are take your fib, pull it from the low to the high of the current price leg, and then you either want to buy in the discount in validation here, or you want to wait for it to reclaim the range high. So Doge is one of those ones that looks kind of interesting. Tau's kind of already had that breakout. So this is what I mean, right? So you take low to the high. There's your discount buy. This is now attempting to break out. And there's a handful of these that are starting to look a little, why would I want to look at this versus the euro? Who the hell wants to look at something versus the euro? This looks very similar to Dogecoin, right? A lot of these coins are putting in this setup, right? What is this? The Adam and Eve? Whatever you want to call it. What is an Adam and Eve setup? It's just a low and then a higher low, right? So like pattern traders are just like kids at the restaurant with crayons. You know what I mean? Like they're just not quite there yet. Like they're ordering off of the paper menu that they can draw on, but with just a little bit of help, they can get the big boy menu. Any pattern that you see that people use, Head and Shoulders, right? The Adam and Eve, a fucking any of the wedges, right? Any of the wedges, whatever the hell you would call this. Okay, this is all just market structure, right? If you understand market structure and price action, you don't need a pattern. I don't need to know that this is an Adam and Eve to say this thing is trying to put in a higher low. That's all it is. And so if this is indeed trying to put in a higher low, where's your entry? Here. Where's your stop? Here. Where's confirmation? On a structure break. So that's all. A lot of these altcoins are doing this right now. So 100%, this is something that you want to be watching on whatever coins that you guys watch. As you guys know, I primarily trade Bitcoin and ETH and Sol. That's it. 90% of my trades are Bitcoin. But if you have a watch list of all of these alts that you're looking for, look for these things to be happening. You know, and if we get one more leg down, so let's assume we get one more leg down. So this fails, right? Then all of these are going to have a clear former level that you can get in on the reclaim of with your stop below the deviation. I can make that way prettier. Right? So if this has one more leg down, any sort of reclaim, now this is your entry. Back into the range and then above the range higher. So that's kind of what you're looking for, I think, on a ton of these alts right now. It's the same setup. It's either high or low right now, or if we have one more low, treat it as a range, and then you get back in on the deviation. But a lot of this stuff is due for a bounce soon. I think it's just kind of dependent on what Bitcoin's going to do. Him Garaja says you can't do TA on oil. I would agree in a sense that with what's going on in the world geopolitically, there's so much going on with oil that just doing TA on it isn't necessarily going to make it work, right? Like it might not respect your levels, your lines, because there's bigger things at play. That being said, who remembers what we talked about on oil on Tuesday's stream? On Tuesday's stream, oil had its big move up and then a big wick and then it pulled back. And what did I do? I said, here's an H12 order block. If it's going to bounce, it should bounce from here. So did I or did I not draw this order block and say if it's going to bounce, it should bounce from here and your stop goes below there and it's now up, 20 some odd percent from there. So you can do TA. It's just that I trust the TA a whole lot less. Like in theory, this could be, there's your Monday's range. Sweep Monday's low, reclaim. You could argue that this is now probably looking to put in a lower high, maybe. Right? You don't know. So you can do TA. I just think that the TA is got a little bit less weight that it carries when you have these kind of external, exogenous events going on, right? Now, exogenous is a very good word. I take exogenous testosterone right here to just boost my levels up. I like to hover, just cruise right around 2,000 nanograms per deciliter. It's not that the chart could be could be influenced by sentiment. It's that a fucking bomb can get dropped on an oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, and then what? Oil prices probably skyrocket. You know what I mean? Or there's a ceasefire, and then oil prices probably nuke. You know what I'm saying? That's more so what I mean by that. Tia is rough when Trump can just nuke the chart with a couple words. Yeah, like there's definitely a lot, like I said, of stuff going on in the world. This is a trickier market to trade than normal. I think that's a very safe assumption to say. Will there be a new educational video regarding order blocks breakers? Yes. So as you guys know, I have the whiteboard over here. I'm creating something called the whiteboard series. It's going to have like 30 fucking videos in it. And I'm going to be going over all of those price action topics: order blocks, breakers, liquidity, SFPs, fair value gaps, all the stuff that I use and that a lot of people have mystified. I'm going to demystify it for you, make it a little bit simpler. Okay? What would you call those events if not sentiment? Sentiment to me is, what is the market sentiment? What is everyone feeling? Is everyone bullish? Is everyone bearish? That's sentiment. Those to me are like external macro systemic risk factors. Okay. There you go. Mo Sam B remembers. He remembers. Someone said TRX. Is Justin Sun in the chat here? We got Justin Sun in the chat asking what TRX looks like. I mean, that wick is annoying. I hate when wicks are like that because it just makes the chart look ugly. I mean, this chart's fucking hilarious, bro. Like, what? Who am I to make fun of Justin Sun? Who am I to make fun of Justin Sun? Like, possibly the greatest, one of the greatest scammers to ever do it. Because like, look at the monthly chart on TRX, guys. This chart goes all the way back to 2019. This thing is in a 7-year uptrend. Like, why aren't we just owning TRX? It's like, looks decent against Bitcoin here. Like, goddamn, like this is how strong TRX is it's kind of holding its own against Bitcoin over the last 7 years, right? So remember, if alt BTC, which is what this is in an uptrend, okay, the alt is stronger. If alt BTC is in a downtrend, Bitcoin is stronger. So what is stronger, Bitcoin or ETH? I would say most of the time, Bitcoin is a lot stronger than ETH. Here, ETH was stronger, but here, Bitcoin was stronger. And on the whole, Bitcoin has been stronger. And then you look at TRX BTC, and it's like, I mean, this thing's been holding its own against Bitcoin for years. Holding its own, going sideways, meaning they're kind of relatively equal strength. And then the TRX chart is just in a fucking uptrend. So, I mean, you know, is this guy even a scammer, or is he just really good at fucking business? Have we been misgendering Justin Sun? Can I use AI to take signals? I don't even know what that fucking means. Fraggled Mole, best way to get messages to you. You can write one in the chat just like how you did there. All right, guys, let's look at a couple more coins here. Real quick, guys, shout out to Kraken, okay? Exchange sponsors for this show. If you want a good centralized exchange to use Kraken, link in the description. Use my fucking code, sign up, trade some money so they don't sell my company back to me. They can do that. They said if you don't get more people trading on Kraken, we're unwinding the deal. We're selling Breakout back to you. That's what they told me. I'm dead serious. So you guys don't sign up. I'm going to have to return all of the puppies that I bought with the money I got from the deal. I bought thousands of puppies, and they're going to have to go right back to the pound if you don't sign up using the link below for Kraken, okay? And that's a lot of puppies. They don't want to go back. Some of them are even puppies. Some of these dogs have been in the pound for years, and I'm the first person to rescue them. And then I'm going to send them right back. And I'm going to play that song, In the Arms of an Angel by Sarah McLachlan, and y'all are going to cry. So, okay, someone said Aster. Is Aster even being used? I mean, I think, like, is it being used by anyone? You have Hyperliquid, you have Aster, you have NATO, you have Lighter. Like, is anyone using Aster? I thought CZ just kind of launched this as a means to scam and try and steal business from Hyperliquid, and then it kind of just faded away. You know what I mean? So like this is an interesting enough setup in that you can kind of just draw like, you know, this. And above here, there's a decent move up. Like above here, potential 20+% move up. But right now, this is a big level of resistance. I'd want to see it get above 80 cents. But I don't know if anyone's using Aster. I have no fucking idea. Okay? Perfect. I'm a breakout member. I passed, failed, passed, and I want to know if offer some form of mentorship scheme. I know I can do this. I just don't want to do it alone anymore. Join the Haven, bro. You can join the Haven. You can get direct access to me and some of the other mentors in there. Join my free Discord. There's a ton of traders in there, many of whom are using Breakout. Join the Breakout Discord, okay? The Breakout Discord has a massive community of people who are actively trading. It's completely free. Just go to breakoutprop.com, join the Discord. There's a ton of people trading. If you get funded, right, which it sounds like you've passed, there's a whole chat for funded traders where they share their ideas and they talk shop. So there's tons of opportunity there for you, bro. NATO will have an airdrop and you should be farming the points 100%. But yeah, that's what I would suggest, dude. And use code MAIN. Get a little discount every time you buy, and anytime you buy a evaluation. All right, so we'll look at some more charts here. I want to get into some of the news here real quick, guys, but shout out to Kraken. Like I said, right now they're doing a Bitcoin sweepstakes. They're going to be giving away an entire Bitcoin. You read that right. An entire Bitcoin. Okay, so if you want the opportunity to win an entire Bitcoin from Kraken, they are doing this sweepstakes right now. So I use Kraken Pro as my centralized exchange of choice, as you guys know. But if you want to subscribe to this, you don't want those puppies to go back to the pound, use my fucking link below, and then celebrate the fact that there's now been 20 Bitcoins mined. 20 Bitcoins mined. Pen Pal Official, make sure you're using my fucking proper Haven link, bro. Pull it from my website. There's only 1 million Bitcoin ever left to be mined. So between now, March 11th, that started yesterday, till April 13th, you can enter by going on to Kraken Pro, trade on Kraken. Every $1 you trade earns you 1 entry. First place gets an entire Bitcoin. Second place, 5 people get 10 grand, and then 100 people will get $100. So all you need to do is trade $1 to enter. Every dollar that you trade on Kraken gets you an extra entry. I'm trying to help. 1 fucking Bitcoin. You could win an entire Bitcoin. Some people dream of being a whole coiner. This could get you there. This could get you to be a whole coiner. And if you don't sign up, I am sending those puppies back to the fucking pound. And it's going to be just terrible. So shout out to Kraken for supporting your boy. I don't want them to sell breakout back to me. I've already spent the money. The money's gone. I can't buy it back. And the puppies, they're going to have to go back. God knows what's going to happen to them. All right. So shout out to the team. Anyways, I think the news that I want to focus on today, guys, like geopolitically, there's a ton of moving parts. What's going on right now, right? So China and Cuba have agreed to boost their bilateral ties just 6 days after Trump said Cuba will fall pretty soon. So the question is Trump gonna Maduro Cuba? Like, who's in charge of Cuba? Who's the Cuban Maduro? Because Trump just came out the other day and basically said that, you know, Cuba maybe will have a peaceful takeover. They're going to do them like Venezuela. The 4D chess take that everyone is talking about is that all of this stuff that Trump is doing, ooh, that close. Oh, we're going to talk about this real quick. But all the stuff that Trump is doing, I don't know why I got so zesty there. That was very zesty. Is a 4D chess game versus China, who is the real enemy. So China gets a lot of their oil from Venezuela, boom, they got them. Okay? Now they're going after Iran, another person who's been working with China closely, giving China a bunch of oil. Now he's saying Cuba, China's working with Cuba. So is Trump trying to isolate China and remove their ability to get oil? We talked about this in a prior stream that China stopped exporting oil from one of its biggest refineries. So something to watch here for sure. Real quick, I want to talk about the close we just had on the S&P. Okay, so now we've had our weekly sweep and our weekly structure break. So I told you guys, bear bias remains on. We are still in our short. So we went over this short a bazillion times. I've shared it with you here a bazillion times. You had multiple opportunities to get in this short, and I didn't close it, and I didn't add to it. I've left it basically the same. That's not true. I added a little. But this is the trade. And we've been in this for weeks, right? For weeks. We finally got the weekly breakdown. We got a little bit of acceleration there. And now if you go down to the daily, right? There's our sweep. There's a breakdown. Here's another sweep right here. A little tiny guy. Okay? A little tiny boy. And now we have another structure break here. So this to me is pretty meaningful. We've now had multiple structure breaks here, and it just gives me that much more confidence. If you remember, what did I post in Telegram? This bounce, I said this should end in a lower high if I'm correct. What I want to see now is another breakdown. Like I want to see actual acceleration. So we're getting more pieces of confluence every day here on this short. We're staying in the short. But what I need to see now is the actual acceleration. So what does that look like? I want to see consecutive big red candle closes. This could be the first one, but I need to see 2 or 3 of these bitches in a row. Same thing back here. Consecutive big red candle closes, displacement to the downside. That's going to be our confirmation that this short is popping. So still holding. It's looking better every day. We're not completely out of the woods yet. Odds of taking April low out, I have no idea. I think the most obvious target is right into here. 6,000 round figure back into there. And then probably like, if I'm right, we probably get something like this. And then I think this, and then, you know, that's your low that you want to buy forever or until the next implosion of the planet. But we're talking months and months and months away. I'm just trying to look to play this leg here. Who knows if this is safe or not? I genuinely have no idea. So the average U.S. gas price rises to $3.60 from the first time since May 2024. A lot of the stuff that I want to highlight, guys, is I'm seeing a lot of similarities, right? Okay, Hamami's son says that the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed. Oil back above $95, right? Pushing back up. Is Hamami's son going to be a nut job? You just saw his fucking dad, his uncle, his family members all get murked. I don't know. But my concern is that we're kind of seeing something that reminds me of COVID in that everything seems kind of fine. We're floating along. Like, you notice how everyone is like, it's all good, right? Like the market's fucking, all this bad news is coming out. The market's not even dumping. And then just bang, it all fucking goes. That's my biggest concern with what's going on right now is like, you know, people kind of thought, like it seems like forever ago, COVID, right? I mean, because it kind of was, but it seemed fine. It wasn't breaking down, right? Fucking wasn't breaking down. This global pandemic, it's probably fine. And then shit hit the fucking fan, and then it died. That's my concern with, I mean, look how high we are now, right? Like in the grand scheme of things, guys, like this is COVID. Like, what are we talking about here? How, like this is not even crazy as a pullback, but there's just a lot of stuff happening where I would be like, hey, all it takes is just one day and then things look massively different. I don't want to be some massive doomer loser. We're taking this day by day and I'm fully prepared for this to be wrong and for us to have another leg higher. It is what it is. So lots going on here. I think Trump has signaled that the war's over, right? He had a speech. We already won the war. It's over. We won. Fastest war ever, right? It's not quite, I mean, first of all, what is the White House fucking intern doing? Can we talk about this for a second? Some of the videos that the White House intern has been posting have been the craziest things I've seen in my entire life. Like, what is this? Like, this is straight up insane stuff that's going on right now in big 2026. So as much as I think Trump thinks that the war is over, right? There's still a lot going on. There's still no real signs of a ceasefire. Iran is announcing that maybe there could be a ceasefire if they say they have legitimate rights, they get some reparations, guarantees against future aggression. I don't know if the US alone has the ability or the latitude to do this because Israel doesn't seem to want to stop this war anytime soon. So I think they want to completely destabilize and destroy that area. So I think this could drag out a lot longer than people are expecting or that maybe than Trump wants. Michael Burry, again, is warning of a big U.S. financial market crash. The problem is too big to save. Now, Michael Burry is famous for calling, right, 85 of the last 3 market crashes. So he is called for a market-wide collapse, go short, everything's over. 85 times, 3 of those times he has nailed the top. So at the end of the day, I don't think Michael Burry's stupid. You know, a lot of people like to troll him like I'm doing right now, but he's a billionaire. I'm not. Most of the people commenting under this aren't. They're not managing, you know, massive amounts of money and you know, and have cashed out with size on some of these bets. But there does seem to be some credence to what he's seeing here, at least in my opinion. I think things are looking a little bit sketchy right now. This is something polymarket related. So Shane here, obviously the CEO, they partnered with Palantir, okay, Palmer Luckey and the boys. And this is going to help with the regulatory aspects of what they're doing, specifically around sports, things like this. So this is a massive partnership here between Polymarket, between Palantir. Obviously, the move towards more regulations. This is a crypto product. This is something that's on chain. They're going to be working with Palantir's ability to detect data integrity, using AI to really just help the product get better, okay? Get better, get more efficient, get more effective, and this will extend obviously beyond sports and just prediction markets. But this is huge. Polymarket's just doing big fucking things. That's why I'm so stoked to be working with them. We've got the same link twice here. Now, here's my boy Threadguy, okay? So, me and my boy Threadguy, we're on the opposite sides of this oil trade. Threadguy is basically plugged into the headline matrix, right? Where he's watching the market open and he's watching stuff happen on the timeline, watching the Pico tick chart on oil, and then determining whether or not, you know, he wants to long, short, whatever. And he seems to be making money, right? He seems to be making money, but he is monitoring the situation, as Apewood has said here, and he's PvPing Besant and he's losing. This goes back to my rant about just being retarded, right? Like, I'm smart enough to know that even though we drew this last chart, like I drew this out last stream, I said if oil's gonna bounce, this is exactly where it should bounce from. And you should put your stop below here, and it bounced 20%. I didn't take this trade because I'm smart enough to know that I'm too retarded to take this trade and have an edge. Even though all the TA bits worked in my favor, I don't have an edge when anything can happen, a headline, a world event that can completely torch the setup. So we're on the opposite sides of the trade here. I think the difference between me and Threadguy here is I've done what he's done already. I'm a lot older than him. Threadguy's probably 23. I'm at least twice his age. So I've done this before. I've monitored the situation. He's playing Xbox with a leg, right? I was playing N64 and Mario Kart or GoldenEye, and your homie is screen peeking on your screen. And then you get into a fist fight because you're not supposed to screen peek. And then he's playing his odd job. And that's fucking bullshit anyways. You can never be odd job. Okay? So I've already done what he's done. I've tried to trade these heavily news-driven markets during times of geopolitical uncertainty. I did this during COVID. I've done this a lot in my trading career, and I've learned I'm too retarded to make money during this consistently. I would rather wait until the dust settles. You don't always need to be in the markets observing the situation. You simply don't. So this is pretty funny, right? Like, some people are like, Trump started with Iran to distract from the Epstein files. Now the oil prices are going so crazy, he's going to have to re-release the redacted Epstein files to get people to stop talking about oil. I think that's fucking hilarious. Last but not least here, top is in on Pokemon cards. I talked about this with the Logan Paul market a while ago. I think the top's in on Pokemon cards. You've got Kim Kardashian and Steve Aoki ripping Pokemon cards. You know who else? What else Kim Kardashian and Steve Aoki did near a similar top? They launched fucking crypto coins. I think it was last cycle. Steve Aoki had a coin last cycle. Kim Kardashian did a coin last cycle, right at the top. If these people are doing Pokemon cards, you are not early. I think Logan Paul exited very near the top with that $16 million sale on that Pikachu card. So something to watch out on the Pokemon side. I think you want to be a little bit fucking worried if you have Kim Kardashian and Steve Aoki in the same trade as you. So let's do a couple more chart requests here, guys. We'll do a little lesson over on the whiteboard, and then we'll talk about some prediction markets. So let's head over to camera 2. I'm like a fucking news anchor in this bitch, boys. I'm like a news anchor up in this bitch. All right. It's your boy. Shout out to my boy Palmer. This is clothing line, not for everyone. So let's do a couple more charts here. So here's a good question. This could be our lesson here. If we get a 12-hour SFP on ETH, which red candle on the M1 would you consider the breaker where the MSB should be? Thanks, Maine. So welcome to this section of the weather, Maine. So he's asking, yo, so right this is an M&M level triple entendre, right? Because Trader Maine, right? Weatherman, right? So it's weather Maine. But there's also a weather vane. The thing that sits on top of your house tells you where the wind goes. I'm also the weather Maine. It's got layers to it like an onion. Okay, so the question here is, if we were to get an H12 SFP on ETH, which red candle on the H1 would you consider the breaker, and where should your market structure shift be? So on the H12, he's saying, let's say we get an H12 SFP, okay, which we're about to get on this candle close. So an SFP, right, you guys know, we trade above this high, right? We trade above the high, and then we close below. So that is technically an H12 SFP, okay? H12 SFP, right there. So now he's asking on the H1, what's the setup? So if this is your H12 SFP, now we're down on the H1, you need to look and you need to say, okay, well, where is the market structure break and where is the breaker? So the market structure break is the low before this. So technically this is your market structure. That's kind of far away from price. That's $60 below. So if price were to break down here, you would sell this, but your stop's got to go all the way up there. I don't like that. So what I would do personally is I would zoom in to something like the 30-minute, and I would say, okay, this is a much tighter structure break level. You could argue that we've already had the MSB on the 30-minute, or maybe you even use this one if you want to be a little bit wider, but it's a lot better than waiting for it to go all the way down here. So you could argue this is your market structure break, okay? And then your stop is there. That's the setup. In terms of which one's the breaker, I'll go back to the hourly for this just to show you. The breaker is the down candle before the move up that took a high. So this is the breaker for this SFP, okay? So on this one, because the down candle is the SFP candle, technically this is the breaker, right? It's its own, the candle itself is the breaker because it's the SFP candle and it also happens to be the down candle. So I would argue if this closes as an SFP on the H12, if we get a hourly close like this, you could sell this retest and you could have your stop there. That would be the trade, okay? Does that answer your question? I'm about to drop, the announcement I said I was gonna make in Telegram is I was gonna drop a picture of the new terminal, but I don't have it yet. I'm waiting for the picture. Can we zoom in and push a little to the right? Let's see. How about that? Is that better? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I don't think this is closed as an SFP yet, right? So nothing is valid, right? The setup is not valid until we get the close. If that closes as an SFP like it is right now, then you could go to the low time frame and look for that setup. Until then, you don't do it. Okay, so yeah, that was definitely a bit of a tricky one because of the SFP candle being the breaker as well. So I want to talk about this poly market specifically here because I find this one interesting because this is about me. This is about my country where I live. So one of the things I always talk about being so cool about poly market, outside of the fact that you can fucking trade, like you can trade predictions with an edge. It's not just gambling. It's not just sports betting. It's you can have an edge. And I learned this when I was talking about the Oscars market because I was chatting with some of the boys and they were talking to me about like, hey, we've been looking into this. We like this because here's what's happened. Like they're going deep on who's won the Oscars, the SAG Awards over this many different years. Best Picture has an effect on who wins. There's edge here. But the other thing that's super cool about poly market is these headlines can be about fucking you, man. Is the province of Alberta, right? Any province, but it's Alberta going to have a referendum to leave Canada. This would be shocking. This is something I've heard about my entire adult life. First, it was Quebec was going to leave the country, and we were kind of like, fucking please leave. Now it's Alberta. We obviously don't want Alberta to leave. They're a major economic driver for us with oil, but I totally understand why they want to leave, and maybe I'll move to Alberta if the referendum passes. So this is a fucking cool market that I was watching. Again, ceasefire market here, a little bit more volume. We just talked about in the news section that Iran has said, hey, here's what we would need for a ceasefire. So there's some stuff going on there, right? There's some stuff going on there. There's some discussions around here. Most of the volume here is in this tranche. Ceasefire in 3 days, no chance. This seems like, you think there's going to be a ceasefire before the end of March? If you're in the no camp here, there's actually like 25% fucking return you can get here. So on $1,000, you can make $250 betting that within the next 19 days there won't be a ceasefire. I kind of like that. I kind of like that bet on the no, right? Like, because this is a month away, and the odds aren't that much better on no. And obviously, as we get further out, more people think obviously yes, but there's a lot of volume right here in these next 2 dates. I kind of like no here. I don't know. Yeah, this might not close as an SFP, boys. Might not close as an SFP. October's coming. You're welcome anytime. Yes, I am in some bets right now, guys. As you guys know, we took these on stream, right? Like we took these on stream. So this one I think is actually very interesting on the yes side from March 31st, because there was a piece of news that I saw today where Trump alluded to the fact that it was either Trump or it might have been the Secretary of War, that they might need boots on the ground to secure the Strait of Hormuz. What's really funny is this is basically like the Professor Zhang playbook, where everyone's like, oh my God, Professor Zhang Iran's doing all the things that Professor Zhang said in his lecture. But he talked about this. He talked about the idea that like, because Iran is so mountainous, the US might have to have boots on the ground to win this war, to take over strategic positions. So this is actually an interesting market to watch. Like, are they actually gonna have boots on the ground? If you remember, we looked at some of those top traders a few streams ago. A lot of these guys were on no on all of this stuff. That's a 4-to-1 on boots on the ground before the end of the month. I'm in this bet, as you guys know. So you can see right here, we're yes on Timmy. We bought yes on Timmy for Best Actor. I saw this inversion after Michael B. Jordan won at the SAG Awards. I thought Sinners sucked. Remember fucking black vampires who like jazz music? I was just like, Marty Supreme, hectic, narcissist, crazy, skinny dude who loves ping pong. I don't know. I just thought it was a better performance. So I'm on yes on Timmy here, as you guys know. We're pumping a little into the daily close, boys. How dare you snap back like that? We're pumping a little into the daily close. So I'm still on yes. Crude, if you want to make this bet on crude, this is where, like, if I'm Threadguy, I'm playing this market over trying to trade crude oil itself, personally. But again, I think this is going to, there's so many factors at play here, because you have to determine, like, if you're trading the chart, if you're trading the crude oil chart, right, what you're trying to determine is where to buy this thing. Is this breakout a fade or not? So if we have a ceasefire, right, if we have a ceasefire and this war ends soon, right, this is a giant fade, right? This is a giant fade, and this is going to go down to here, I think. But if this war persists, right, I could see this continuing to go higher. And so the difficulty that comes from trading this, in my opinion, is There's so much volatility due to these headlines every day. Is there going to be a ceasefire? Is there not? What's going on with the Strait of Hormuz? Blah, blah, blah. If you think this war lasts longer than most, I would bet on a high price for crude, like a new all-time high, and I would just punt it out in time. That's how I would do it. If you think this is going to last through to the end of March, I think oil hitting 150, it already hit as high as 100. 150 is not that crazy far away. Maybe 140, 130, even at 130. Not that, like this is a 1-to-1, this is a 4-to-1 by the end of the month. So if you think that the war is going to continue to be going on into the end of the month, I think there's pretty high odds that this makes new highs. So I think that's an easier speculative bet to make than trying to actually trade the chart of crude. But that's just me. I'm not observing the situation every day. I'm not a slave to the tape like some people are doing right now. It's just not of interest to me. This would be great for me, okay? This would be great for me, guys, because Trump is demanding, even though he has no ability to actually coerce Jerome Powell to do anything, implore him to do anything. You can ask, right? But he's demanding that he drops rates now. If you guys remember, right, this meeting is next week. Your boy is on the yes. I'm on this bet. Okay? I bet $500 it will pay $35,000 if they drop rates in this meeting next week. It seems a lot more likely that they'll drop rates probably the following meeting, because I think that by the time we get to the next FOMC meeting, I think there's a much higher likelihood that the stock market has pulled back some. And so if the stock market has pulled back some, I think by April, a lot higher odds that they're going to drop rates. So I bet on that as well. I bet on both of these. This is a complete punt, right? Like this is $500 to make a crazy sum. The other bet that I made is by April, and this is $1,000 to pay $10K. So I'm on both of those. This is pie in the sky, but I'm willing to take this bet. All I have to do is hit one of these once, and it pays for my losses, because I'm betting $500 to $1,000 each time. They're gonna cut rates. I'm betting early enough that the payout is always massively asymmetric in my favor. And I think if this starts to play out, even just this part, like if we just play out this bit, I think the rate cut situation massively skewed in my favor. And God, I mean, imagine if they do it next week and I turn 535K, goated, fucking goated. Okay, let's look at the chat here real quick. Timmy didn't take my money. Yes, Cal, you absolutely go use that link that PenPal put. If you're in the Haven, you can fucking tag me all day, all night. I'll answer usually within 1 day. No wonder you have no money to pay Kraken back. You're taking retarded bets. I don't think these bets are that fucking retarded, man. I've got like $3,000 at risk, bro. The Kraken paid me more than $3 grand, not that much more, and the excess money I used to buy poor, destitute puppies and dogs that were about to get put down at the pound. And I was, I'm going to send them all back. And I don't know what's going to happen to them. But dung schlung, if you don't sign up to my Polymarket link below, if you don't click the Polymarket link in the description of this video, all of those puppies are going back to the pound. It's going to be your fault. You're going to have to sleep with that. Oh, now you're calling me cutie pie. These puppies might die. And that puppy blood is on your hands. And of course, all of this can be avoided if you click my Polymarket link below. What's up, Maine? I hope for BTC to fill 43 to 47,000. I'll buy your used underwear so you can pay back Kraken. Ban this man from the chat. Unbelievable. DM me though. We can talk. Are we talking lightly used, like post gym? Like, what are we talking about here? So someone says $47,000 to $43,000 Bitcoin. As you guys know, I am a big fan, right, of that area. Remember, this is the yearly order block right there. And then if you draw our fib from the low to the high, right, where's that sweet spot? It's right in that general area. So I really like that area too. And there's a poly market market for that. I think it's what price will Bitcoin hit in 2026. I think this was the one. Yeah, a lot of volume on this market now, 24 million. And I remember I showed you guys this. There was a lot of juice at these lower levels here. I still like these areas, right? 35K is a 4-to-1. I don't know if it goes that low, but I feel pretty confident in some of these, and it seems like some of the market does as well. Like, so interesting to watch for sure. But oh my God, if this plays out, goated with the sauce. Goated with the sauce. Oh, here's the province market. I must have had it. This is literally a coin flip right now. I think that this is like a pretty good bet. Not financial advice, but I think that there will be a referendum in Alberta, and this is till 2027. That goes a ways, that's a ways out. How is the setup for a deviation different from the setup from an SFP? Well, if you watched last stream, I talked about exactly this. It's the exact same, right? Whether this, right, is an SFP or a deviation, it's the same. It's the same thing, right? What matters is not so much this. What matters is this. Does it have a market structure break? If we move above an old high, break down, and take out the low that generated that high, the setup is valid. Whether this was an SFP or a deviation is irrelevant. It's the same thing. The reason I teach it as an SFP is because I'm trying to teach everyone a very mechanical way to trade. If you've been watching my videos for a very long time, right, I talk about this framework. Oops, he says as he fucking blows it, right? I talk about this framework here. So it's, we have a low. Am I retarded? I must be. Okay. I talk about this framework here, right? There's your market structure break, right? We look for the POI here. This is where we're looking for the higher low to form, right? We have our internal. I'm doing an entire video on this right now. That should be released probably next week. But this is the framework for a lot of the trades that I take. And then what are you looking for here? You're looking for that fractal, right? I've talked about this over and over and over and over and over again over the years now. So I'm doing an entire video that should be up, I hope, next week, breaking down exactly this. And then I will have an entire video about SFPs, about deviation. So what we're calling it is the whiteboard series. And what it's gonna be is, it's gonna be like, video number 1 is like the framework, which is kind of what I just showed you. And then from there on, right, there's gonna be order block video. There's going to be a breaker video. There's going to be a video on SFPs. There'll be a video on liquidity. And then at the end, the idea is you're going to have a video that's putting it all together. Right? And then ideally, it's like going to be similar to what those other guys on YouTube have, where it's like a boot camp, where you watch all of these videos in a row. And by the end of the series, you should be able to execute the trades and the setups, okay, the way that I have shared them with you over the years. Because what I've done, I've got 1,000 YouTube videos, guys, but a lot of them are very long streams like this. A lot of them are quick market updates. My best performing videos are thoughtful, educational videos. I'm just fucking lazy and I hate doing them, but I'm going to do them for you guys and they're going to be evergreen. And the idea is this will live on YouTube. You can watch it. It's relevant. It's applicable. All asset classes, all time frames. It should be really, really good. I'm hoping it is helpful to all of you. And then I'll do it once and then I won't have to do it again. So instead of having to explain what an order block is every other stream or what an SFP is or a breaker or market structure break, I can just direct you to the videos and then you'll be able to have all of it. And then once I'm done this, okay? Once I'm done this and a few other things, then I'm going to pull like, you know, Batman at the end of the last movie when he drives the nuke off into the sunset and it blows up and everyone thinks he's dead. And then he shows up at some little European cafe with Alfred and they're fucking just sipping their little espresso and they don't acknowledge each other, but they're just like, you know, see them back to business. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna disappear. You'll never see me again. So it's coming. Okay, it's coming. We're working on it. We're planning it. It's gonna be awesome. But all of it is for naught if you don't click the Polymarket link in the description right fucking now. Okay, I'll take a couple more quick questions here and then I'm gonna do the deep dive and then we're gonna fucking end it. Sound good? The drawing on my desktop from your very old school videos. This will be like your 6th trading series, this man. Yeah, the idea is this is gonna be the most organized way to watch all of my educational content in one place. You're the best, Paul. Whenever a swing high is the same candle as the one that caused the MSB, would you use that one or the one before it? You technically use the same candle. Here's what I'll say, right? Is if you're wondering what candle is the MSB, what candle is the swing high, what candle is the breaker, because it's messy, maybe just don't take that setup. Wait for the ones that are clean, easy for you to read. Once you get a little bit more confidence, you get a little better, then you can start having a little bit more discretion and start taking the trades while it's not as clean. So if we go back to this example on ETH here, like we're not obviously getting the SFP. This looks like it's breaking out right now. But here was an SFP, right? This was an SFP here. This was a short that we actually talked about on ETH. But if you're like, if it's not clean like this, where it's very obvious, okay, like this is a very obvious setup here that we talked about several videos ago. Like this is clear. There is your SFP high on the H12. Super obvious. This is your market structure break. These candles are your breaker. There's your entry. There's your stop. There's your target 1. There's your target 2, etc. If it's not super clean and obvious, don't take the fucking trade. Okay? Don't try and force yourself into trades where the setup that you're looking for is confusing you. If you can't tell what low to use, if there's a raid candle, like the candle that makes the high also happens to be the swing high and you don't know, just don't take that one. Simply don't take it. Wait for a cleaner and easier and more obvious setup. Okay, but we're pushing up here. Where are we pushing up off of? Right? Monday's high. We're still holding Monday's high. Still holding. Okay? Still holding this area. I think we see 74K Bitcoin in the next few days. Possibly. Possibly. Okay? So, I think we'll end on the deep dive here. So, when I mentioned I'm feeling like COVID vibes, right? Monthly, or I'm feeling like COVID vibes where Everything seems fine. We're not dumping, even though there's all this crazy stuff that you would think would justify dumping happening. It's not. There's a lot of stuff kind of behind the scenes that are flashing warning signs. Some of these things are Americans need an income of $111,000 to afford a house. Okay? That's 46% higher than it is needed to rent. So it is way better to rent right now than it is to own. That's generally not a good sign for where the economy is as a whole. This to me feels like the George Soros fucking special, right? You'll own nothing. You're not going to own, but you'll rent and you'll be happy and you're going to eat fucking bugs. That seems to be the way that we're heading. So there's a lot of these warning signs, including stuff like this. Oopsies. Banks are raising credit card limits without any warnings, okay? Credit card defaults were skyrocketing, so now if you had a 5K limit, they're moving it up to 15. I used to work at a bank, okay? You want to know what's something that's nasty work? When I used to work at a bank, what I would do, okay, is let's say you had a line of credit of 10K, and every month on average, you carried like 80% of that as a balance. So meaning you had like an 8K due on your line of credit and you're making your minimum payments. Maybe every once in a while you'd make a big payment. My boss would give us a list of people, okay, to call and say, hey, this person's consistently carrying 80+% on their line of credit. Let's offer them 20K. Because now, what are you likely to do? You're likely to carry a balance of like 15 to 18,000. This is the exact same thing that's going on here. Guess what year this fucking was? Bad year. This is how old I am, right? This was like 2006, 7. 6, 7. See, I'm still hip with the fucking kids. Fuck you. This is the exact same thing, right? If you have a credit limit of $5,000, you're defaulting on your credit, you're carrying a maximum balance, and they now give you $15,000, the likelihood of you spending that extra money is very high. Not a good sign, bad sign. I can speak from experience. Because I used to, not only did I used to sell that shit, I used to be that guy. I would get more credit and I would use it. This is a really good, longer post that I think you should read, but this is some of the worrying signs that we're seeing happen behind the scenes, okay, in the financial system. I've been talking for a very long time about the stock market here, okay? I've been telling you guys for literally weeks. I said something's wrong. There is a disconnect between what this market looks like and the reality of the economy and the financial system in the US. Now, this is multifactorial. I don't even know if that's the right word to use, but it sounds smart, so I'm going to stick with it. Because you have the whole petrodollar argument, right? This is what Professor Jang was talking about. This is what a bunch of people are now copying and parroting. You saw, what's his fucking name? Patrick Bet-Davis talk about this, but this is a fact. A lot of these countries in the Gulf invest in American tech using American dollars that they get from oil. This is kind of the trade. You build a military base in fucking Qatar, and we are going to invest billions of dollars of American dollars, oil money, into NVIDIA, etc. There's that argument that maybe this is collapsing. The other argument that you can look at, right, is the jobs. Okay? So this I think ties into the AI bubble, by the way, right? Like, is these AI companies as valuable as they seem to be, or are they just propping up the stock market? Is it all bullshit? The job reports, I've talked about this on every video for the last 2-3 months. They're consistently marking down job reports. I think they marked down 1 million jobs in 2025. 1 million, they marked it down. That's the most since COVID. So the job numbers come out, then they mark them down, and that means that there's not as many jobs created, right? It's bad. It's a bad sign for the economy. There's other factors like quits and stuff that work into here, but this is a bad sign. And they started to lose job reports. Oh, we lost the data. We can't find it. We can't release it. These things are all very bad. And so I've been talking about things like this for a while and saying something doesn't line up with how the market looks. Now you have people way smarter than me, right? Because remember, I'm retarded, okay? I'm retarded and I'm seeing some of these signs out there as a retard. You have smart people who are noticing some of the bigger things that are going on, right? Some of the bigger things that are going on. How smart is this guy? I mean, this guy's IQ is 267. It's actually 276, retard. This guy is 100 IQ points smarter than Albert Einstein. Now, whether or not this is the same guy that's like, I'm the smartest guy in the world and he's always talking about Bitcoin, yeah, this is that same retard. Should have fact-checked that before I call him smart. But this stuff is accurate. JP Morgan is marking down private credit loans and restricting lending to private credit funds. There's a bank in Canada that did high interest lending. Their stock dropped 50% the other day because they marked down so many of these high interest loans. And there was such a massive amount of Canadians on this high interest debt, okay? So that kind of stuff, it's worrisome. Morgan Stanley blocking redemptions on private credit funds. So there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. I encourage you, one, to read this. I encourage you, two, fact check it because I think this guy's IQ might not actually be 276, right? So you might want to fact check it. But a lot of this stuff going on behind the scenes, I think lines up with what I'm seeing in a lot of the data about the stock market potentially being in a worse place than it actually appears to be based on the chart alone. So I'm not trying to be a doomer, okay? I'm not trying to be a fucking doomer. I'm not trying to be a gay bear. You guys know, your boy is not a gay bear. He hates being a gay bear, okay? But the fact of the matter is, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that I think is worth paying attention to when it comes to the markets. And some of these warning signs are now starting to show up, and the chart might be leading this. So all it takes is this, and then you get a big red candle, and then we're like, holy shit, we're fucking printing. So that's all I got. I don't know. Like, anything else we want to talk about, guys? I feel like this was a good one. Feel like this was a good one? No? Are we still live? Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, my timer says I'm not streaming, but I'm definitely streaming. What's your Bitcoin question? Oil, we might get an evening star on the daily. I mean, okay. I talked about this, right? Like, this could be putting in a lower high soon. I'm too retarded to know, bro. I'm too retarded to know. You think we see 74K in a few days. There's a weekly H4 candlestick pattern that has been consistent in formation. Maybe, bro. Like 74K is what, a new high? Or are you saying we just get 74K? I don't know. If it's going to make a lower high, I think it happens here, right? I think if we make a new high, I think we're going to like into the 80s, mid 80s. So if the bears want to slam it, they know where to do it. Can I check BTC? I'm looking at BTC, brother. What do you want me to check? All right, guys. So I hope you're liking these streams, right? I hope you're liking that the streams are back. We're back on YouTube. The viewership's been awesome. The chat has been lit, right? Gold has not changed, buddy. I gave you guys the level on gold. I don't know why it deleted. I said it's got to reclaim this. Once we reclaim this, I think gold can have another leg above here. Until then, chilling, right? This is resistance until it's not. This is a breaker until it's not. So it's got to reclaim that. If you want to support me, guys, you like the video, you like what I'm trying to do with the dual screens here, the upgraded system, right? The new setup, the educational videos, the whiteboard series we're going to be putting together. The best way you can support your boy is very simple. Click the links in the description. Go sign up for Kraken. Have a chance of winning 1 Bitcoin. Click the Polymarket link below. Fucking speculate on some of this shit that we're talking about. Fool around with it. Poly market is here to stay, in my opinion. And especially when the markets aren't maybe as easy to trade, there's money to be made on things like poly market. I'm putting a lot of time in personally trying to find an edge and find things that I can do using my knowledge of markets and what's available on poly market to make some money. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys as I go. So shout out to them. Click that link below if you want to support me. As always, it doesn't cost you anything to leave a comment, share the video, tell me I'm handsome. If people say mean things to me on Twitter, defend my honor as if I were a fair maiden, you know? That's all it takes. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Tell me I'm handsome. Share the video. Force your friends and family to watch. As always, if you want more from me, go to my website, tradermain.com. You can learn about the Haven there if you want direct access to me and the other analysts. If you want to trade a breakout, you want to trade my money, the terminal coming soon, this month. The terminal is this month, and I'm going to post a screenshot from it either tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to post a screenshot of the terminal. It looks sexy. It looks good. It's modern. It's fast. It's intuitive. It's crypto. None of this janky bullshit that you've been dealing with. Use code MAIN for a discount on your valuation. All right, guys? That's all I got. I love you all so much. I will be gambling tomorrow, so if you want to watch, that'll be happening over on Kick. And other than that, I'll probably hit you with a market update this weekend, and we're going to keep the shit rolling. We're going to keep the shit rolling. I'm going to be here until Bitcoin bottoms. We're going to buy the piss out of the low on Bitcoin, and then we are going to ride off into the sunset. And then the moment each and every one of you watching this stream has a girlfriend or wife, that is when I'll retire. Hopefully that's sooner than later. All right, guys.